nasikia walevi huota na bia, nasikia walevi lakini kuna siri ndawaibia leo.
Hey guys, and welcome back if you're a returning subscriber, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Marilyn. So today I'm back again with another Huddah review, and this time I will be reviewing this one. This is the Huddah 24 color eyeshadow palette, Stargirl edition. She does have another palette called Stargirl edition, but that one has 9 eyeshadows, I believe. So let's get into some specs of this palette. First things first, eyeshadow palette looks like this. It comes with a protective nylon sort of covering on it. I did purchase this eyeshadow palette from every time I say palette, my friends told me that when they watch my videos they want to play like a drinking game because they say the word palette so much. So I'm trying so hard not to say the word palette. But anyway, I did get this palette from Nairobi town at World Business Center. There's a lady there who normally sells Huddah cosmetic products, but at the same time, if you do want to, I feel like Huddah Cosmetics is nearly worldwide. Like if you go to her Instagram, you will see all the places where she ships to, and there are if not all of Africa, 90% of Africa, as well as the States, the UK, and I believe some places in Europe. I could be wrong, but I feel like I saw some places in Europe. I feel maybe the only places she doesn't ship to is Asia. I will link all of the places where you can purchase this palette if you do feel like purchasing it. I'm not quite sure about the shipping fees to this other places, because me myself, I did go and purchase this from like a retailer in Nairobi. Palette retails for 1500 Kenya shillings. I believe the same applies in dollars, probably goes for like $15. I'm not quite sure. The palette looks like this. It's a baby pink sort of covering, and then the word Stargirl is written in gold, and it just says Huddah 24 eyeshadow palette Stargirl edition. And then at the back you have some of the colors, like this 3 spot on, but the others you can't really tell, but most of this is supposed to be shimmery. And then it just says universally flattering eyes from natural to smoky. This palette takes you from day to night with its blendable, buildable formulate. From soft shimmery nudes to rich brown mattes, match your desired shades to achieve infinite looks. And this is the sleeve. So the sleeve and the palette actually look alike. Same thing on the back. And then when you open the palette, I have been using it, that's so you guys can tell, like there are a few dents, but there's some shades. There's 3 here I haven't touched. A lot of these shimmers I haven't touched. These 3 rows are made of matte shades, around 4 to 5 shimmers in this palette, and that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those 5 are shimmer shades. These other shades, I don't really quite know what to call them. The shimmer shades look like this, but let me give you an example why I'm not quite sure what to call these other ones. The camera is not doing it justice. They don't perform like shimmer shades. They perform like iridescent glitters. The look I'm about to do right now is going to be the 3rd look, but for you guys it's going to be the 1st look. I saw a video from Alyssa Ashley where she did 3 looks in one eyeshadow palette, and I was like, yes, that's exactly what I'm going to do for this eyeshadow palette. So that's what this video is. It's going to be 3 looks, 1 eyeshadow palette, as well as a review, of course. That being said, I feel like we can get into the eyeshadow look because I have been talking for a hot minute. The first look is going to be a talk through, and then with the other looks, they're just going to be just more of a demonstration of sorts. So I'm going to be priming my eyelids with the Black Radiance Perfecting Eyeshadow Primer. I'm going to be doing a colorful look. I'm going to mix it in with the Illegal Corrector in the shade Classic Ivory. I'm just doing this so that the colors can actually pop. Going in with the shade Da. And Da is this orangey sort of color, and I will just be packing it and tapping it on my brow bone. I think I want to go in with Mogadishu right above Da. You can still see like the Mogadishu where it is. Even though it looks like a shadow that doesn't have a lot of color payoff, it actually really picks up really well. This orange, it's sort of like a pastel orange. That's the one I'm having a problem with. I'm going to have to go in with this red just to make it as deep as I want it to be. Next, I will be going in with this shade here, which is Dakar. I will just be sweeping Dakar right underneath that doula. I'll be going in with Juba. To be cutting the crease again with the Illegal Concealer in Classic Ivory. I realize most of the time I use a lot of makeup lingo that most of you don't understand. So I'm trying to explain exactly what I'm doing step by step. So cutting the crease refers to basically using eyeshadow to define your crease. You just want to make the line as crisp and as sharp as possible. Just going to go straight into the shade I want to use. That's going to be Nairobi. Oh, okay. Get into the green. Hopefully it's as good as this blue. So I didn't expect the turquoise to be this bright, so I should have done yellow, green, and then turquoise, but I can't change it now.
It is what it is.
The green isn't as pigmented as the blue though, but it's still decent. So we're going to get into this yellow here. Picking up the blue and the green and just placing it at the middle there. I don't like the yellow, so I want to change that and just replace it with the blue. I'm going to go ahead and do this at the eye and be right back. So basically what I'm going to do is the order in which I put the eyeshadows on my eye is the same order I'm going to follow on my waterline, minus probably Mogadishu and Dula, minus those two, but the same exact order. So I'm going to start with dark and just sweep that under my eyes. To go in with Dakar and again connecting it back to my eyelid. A tighter brush, I'm going to go right in with Juba, and then lastly I'm going to go in with an eyeliner, and I'll be using the Illegal Glide Liner in very black right on my waterline. Now that I put black on my waterline, I'm going back in with Juba and just smoking the black out. Mombasa, which is this shade here, on my inner tear duct, just beneath my brow bone, going back in with Mombasa. It's really hard to pick this pigment with a brush, so I really like Mombasa, but I feel like it's not pigmented enough, so I'm going to go back in with Lusaka. So far with all the Huddah looks I've done, I've been using the Huddah liquid lipstick with the eyeshadow, so I'm going to do the same with this one as well. I'm going to start by lining my lips with Hot Cocoa from Italia Deluxe. I'm going to go in with King Jasmine from Huddah Cosmetics, the matte liquid lipstick. Now if I wanted I could leave it like this, but I'm going to go ahead and add a gloss, Dose of Colors gloss in Undressed. This is the finished look. My space buns are a bit uneven, whatever, it's fine, whatever. It doesn't quite look like hard imagined in my head, but that's fine. Now that we've completed this look and you guys saw live how the eyeshadows performed on my eyes, I do have a few thoughts on this eyeshadow palette, and as always I categorize my thoughts into pros and cons, and we're going to start with the cons because Don't like finishing videos on negative notes. So one thing I've noticed about this palette is I've used it thrice now and it's already so dirty. Like there's stains here and stuff like that. The packaging of the palette is cardboard. It doesn't have that clear shiny plasticky sort of film that goes over the cardboard. That just helps as you use the eyeshadow palette, it doesn't get dirty. To be honest, that's a non-issue for me because I do know how to clean my palette so that I can remove the stains of eyeshadow palettes like this. But most of you guys, most of the consumers who are going to buy this might not know how to do that. Another con is that this palette does have a little bit of kickback. Kickback is when you, for instance, take your brush and you dip it into your shadow and then there's like flakes of eyeshadow on the eyeshadow pan. So if that's an issue for you guys, bear that in mind. I've never seen an eyeshadow palette that doesn't have kickback, by the way. Some of these eyeshadows are not very pigmented, and for me I found that Joburg and Kisumu are the ones that weren't very pigmented, but I don't have any issue with the other shades. Another thing about this eyeshadow palette is this shadows, this ones, like I told you guys, I don't know what to call these. They're like a mixture between a shimmer shade and like a really fine glitter. They don't pick up very well with synthetic brushes. When I was doing the second look, it was a really big struggle for me to try and get the pigment onto my eyelid, till I had to resort to just using my finger just so I can get the color payoff that I want. When it comes to swatching them with your finger, they actually perform really well. When it comes to swatching them with a brush, you guys can see barely anything. It's really hard to pick up the pigment with a brush, so you have to use your finger to get it. I also tried using a sponge, and same shade again with a sponge, and for optimum color payoff, I would advise you to use your finger. Problem is when it comes to like getting into the inner corner and you want to use one of the shades, it's just going to be so cumbersome and so annoying. Another con, and this is a personal thing for me, might not be for you. You might be very pleased with the shades that are here. I'm also very pleased with the shades that are here, but I just wish there was another dark color because I am literally left with this two only as the dark colors. I wish there was a black or like a dark purple or a dark pink so that I could have more versatility. I should have maybe opted to get rid of one of this. They're literally almost the same, Mogadishu and Kigali. It's just the tones that are different. Get rid of one of this and add like a dark color like a black or like a dark purple. Like I said, I realized when I was doing the 3 looks, I kept gravitating towards this same 2 colors because there's nothing else that I could use on like my outer corner to like deepen the look. Last but not least, when it comes to this eyeshadow palette, and it has to do with the ingredients list, I did notice that the palette has a BHA and it also has parabens. From what I know, BHAs are beta hydroxy acids. I feel like I need to do more research on that, why they use beta hydroxy acids to make the eyeshadow palette. But I do also notice that there is a paraben in this eyeshadow palette. So if you are afraid of parabens or if you are concerned when it comes to parabens, then I suppose that this eyeshadow palette is not going to be for you. Now we can get into the cons, and con number 1, as always, I am rooting for everyone Kenyan, and Huddah Cosmetics is a Kenyan brand and I'm so proud of her. I don't even know her, but this is so bomb. The packaging is bomb. The fact that it has a mirror and it's so inexpensive. I have some really expensive eyeshadow palettes that don't even have mirror. Number 3, it is very affordable. 1500 shillings and you get 24 shades, and most of the shades are bomb. Pro number 4 is that these shadows are so soft. They feel so nice. They're not chalky. They're not chalky. That's like 4 and 5 and they just glide on. But I do feel like a couple of the shades might be pressed pigment. Pressed pigment is like pressed color, so to speak. So a couple of these shades perform better when you pack them on as opposed to sweeping them on, and that mostly just applies with the mattes. And I want to say Juba, Dakar, this as well. I want to mention another pro about this eyeshadow palette is that the blendability is bomb. I'm not sure if you guys watched my my Kara. When I was blending the eyeshadows decided to melt into each other and create a whole other color, which was not what I was going for. I was going for like layers of color. I wanted to put like a orange, and then I do a yellow, and I wanted each color to be there separately. And as you guys can see, that's exactly what is going on my eyes. You can sort of see the orange over here. It's just that I blended in the red. You can see the red, you can see the dark red, and you can see the brown, you can see the green and the teal, which is what I wanted. So these colors blend in so well, and on top of that, they blend phenomenally together. They separate where they were supposed to and blend where they're supposed to. Also, this was a con a few seconds ago, and now it's going to be a pro for me. The color selection is just amazing, regardless of whether the darker color was there or not. You have your neutrals, you have your crease colors, you also have your shimmers, and then you have your random glitters, and then on top of that you have this color selection here. She did such a phenomenal job with it. I can't even speak. Another thing I absolutely love about this eyeshadows, as I don't know if you guys noticed, but as I was packing on the shadows, there was no fallout on my under eye. Fallout is when you go to put an eyeshadow on your eye and then you have little specks of color transfer to like your under eye. Most of the time I like to start with my eyes, just because most eyeshadow palettes tend to have a lot of fallout, and then when you've already done your face, you have to wipe off the work you already put under your eyes. So I know for a fact when it comes to this eyeshadow palette, I can do my face and do my eyes last, and I'm not going to have an issue. So I really love the fact that this eyeshadow palette has no fallout. Last pro that I have for it is most of these colors are extremely pigmented. For instance, Juba and Dakar, those are the two shades, and I put Dakar on top of another shade, but it still came through. Randomly also, Accra, which is this yellow, is also decently pigmented. Like I'd have to pack it in, but you see, the more I add to it, the more the color comes through. So I'm genuinely surprised as to how good this yellow performed. This still Nairobi, by the way, bombdiggity.com. A summary of my thoughts on this eyeshadow palette. Should you get it? Absolutely. Absolutely, unless you do have a problem with parabens or one of the cons I mentioned earlier. But for me, I absolutely love this palette. Please comment down below if you agree with my thoughts on this eyeshadow palette, and let me know also which was your favorite look. Look 1, 2 or 3. I do hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It really does help my channel grow and get out there so more people can see my content. That being said, this is look number 1. I went for color. I really wanted to incorporate these 3 colors, but I didn't like how the yellow looked, that's why I did not use it. But now we can get into the next 2 looks.
Brand new and fresh this morning.
Listen, man.
All kinds of trouble for lots of different people.